Welcome to Black and Gold Digital Edition, a behind-the-scenes look at your Pittsburgh Steelers.
Hi everyone, I'm Jay Puskar alongside Mike Gallagher, Mike Fenner, and Kent Urbanski. Welcome to another week of our digital exclusive about the Black and Gold. And guys, hard to believe they're 0-3 and they got a divisional game coming up. This has to be a must-win if we haven't talked about it before, Mike.
Can't believe it's 0-3. 0-3 versus 0-3 on Monday Night Football. If you had said this to us in July, people would think we were crazy. But it's here, so now we need to figure out our new reality.
What's gone wrong so far the first 3 weeks?
Where do I start? How about the offensive line? That with all the Pro Bowl, all the hype, just not opening up holes to get the run game going. Without the run game, there's no balance. So you got a young quarterback in there that is, needs all the help that he can getting some protection, and also I think you need an offensive coordinator that's going to let him throw the ball down the field, let him use his arm a little bit.
And Mike, they're just not getting any balance, especially from the running game. Guys are only getting up to maybe 50, 60 yards, per game. So to get that balance, it's not there yet.
It's not there yet, and I think the running game has been a problem on both sides of the ball. You talk to these defensive players this week, they are furious at the fact that they are being picked apart on the run and that it's really been a one-dimensional attack. I mean, they can't stop the run, and that's the number one goal of this defense this week as well.
And then when you go back to the offense, the third down inefficiencies, I mean, they got to be able to stay on the field and finish drives. Right. And, of course, against the Niners, when your defense gets you 5 takeaways and you only score 6 points, that's a major problem.
Well, with everything that's going on, now you're starting to micromanage and look at every little aspect of it. And all of them are adding up in a bad way. Mm-hmm. From the third downs, from the poorly executing the run, being unable to stop the run. It's like one thing after another. It isn't just one issue, it's multiple issues.
Mike, and as you are every week, you're down at their practices. What's the locker room feel like right now? What kind of vibe is being generated? Are fingers starting to be pointed a little bit, or is there still a sense of optimism?
Not fingers being pointed, but they're just owning it, saying, we don't want to talk about this anymore. We don't want to talk about winning, talk about getting it done. We just want to go do it. So frankly, they're not really interested in people talking about them or them talking about this whole process. They want to just go out there and do it. And those defensive guys especially, that's why I let off with that. I mean, they seem really, really fired up about what they've been lacking and not been able to do. I think that's been one of the biggest problems so far.
And Kent, you can't help but think, because of the schedule now, 0-3, you finally get into divisional play. So if there is ever a time to kind of dig yourself out of a hole, this would be the week when you finally get into divisional play.
2 teams with a sense of desperation coming in this Monday. We were talking about before the show started, 2 0-3 teams who would have figured that going into a primetime game. Yeah. Where the level.
I'm sure the network is like, really? This is what we're going to get for week number 4?
But it could make for a great matchup, too, when you got 2 teams on the cusp of already being eliminated, needing to get that win.
And there's a lot of bad blood, too, Mike, with these 2 franchises. There's some different pieces to the puzzle now as opposed to 3 or 4 years ago, but these 2 rivals, they don't like each other.
Some new faces, some new names on the back of a few of the jerseys, but it's still Bengals, Steelers, and a history that is not a pleasant one if you play in those games. And I'll just share this that I saw on a Facebook post. Tyler Boyd, who plays for the Cincinnati Bengals, who was a Pitt Panther.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I saw a post from his mom, everyone obviously asking for tickets. She said, I have to get my tickets the way you do because the Steelers aren't giving us any tickets. So, I mean, there's no real love lost between the 2, even for a hometown kid coming home.
Right.
And, guys, for Mason Rudolph getting ready for his second start, it's going to be at home. It's going to be in prime time. What does that say for him, knowing that he's now going to get the reps that he needs to get himself prepared? But he played awfully well against the Seattle Seahawks in a relief role in the second half a couple weeks ago. Yeah,
he did. And I think he should be able to feed off of the vibe, which is a hometown game in Heinz Field. And hopefully, like I said, Randy Fichtner lets him play. Doesn't hold him back, and you got to create that running game to get a little bit of play action going on and mix things up, create some balance. Got to get the running game going. It's Steelers football, and this is not Steelers football.
And Mike, piggybacking off of what Kent just said, the fact of just opening up the playbook a little bit more. You got nothing to lose now. You're already 0-3. Let's open it up and see what we can really deliver on.
Yeah, I mean, they have big play capability, too, because you saw what they were able to do with Juju Smith-Schuster, the 76-yard catch and run for the touchdown. Deontay Johnson, the 39-yard touchdown as well. They talked about the fact they have the ability to make those big chunk plays. They just need to be more consistent when they're not hitting those big plays. They can't have nothing. They can't come out there and get negative yardage plays, get behind the sticks, and depend on those big plays to simply do the job for them. They have to be able to be more consistent on early downs to make sure he's not in 3rd and long, and it's not predictable play calling and situational football like that.
Mike, defensively, it's got to be a great pickup to see the investment already on the return. Minkah Fitzpatrick had a really good game against the Niners. He really brings a presence to that secondary already.
He certainly does, and if you have a chance, find a way to watch the segment we had during the telecast of Black and Gold today.
Oh, it's priceless.
Where our producer over here went and interviewed folks at, where was it, Kent?
Point Pleasant retirement.
And out of nowhere, one of them starts talking about the addition of him to the defense.
Yeah.
It was just,
Oh, I know.
it was such a Steeler moment.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, those ladies really knew their Steelers football.
We need to post that segment online.
Oh, no
we need
question
to make
about
sure.
it, yeah.
If you haven't seen it on our show, you got to see this segment where.
And they hold no punches either. I mean, they came out full guns a-blazing.
I was shocked because I went in there and I was expecting just to get a bunch of ladies just not willing to talk. And as soon as that red light came on, man, they had all kinds of things to say. It was great. A little worried about this game coming up, though, if Vance McDonald can't go, because he seems to be like a safety net for Mason. And I know they just brought in Nick Vannett from Seattle. But, it's going to be kind of tough for someone
to rush that chemistry so soon.
Right.
Yeah.
So that would be my only concern. They got to run the football in this game. They got to get some balance.
Plus Xavier Grimmel going on injured reserve as well.
Right. I was shocked at that, by the way. Because I thought McDonald was the one that was hurt, and then you end up seeing Grimmel. I just didn't understand what happened there. So hopefully, what Tomlin's thinking is Vance is going to be okay, though.
Mike, going back to the running game as well, James Conner really not speaking at practice this week, and just collectively from that unit, it's got to be really tough because Samuels and Conner, these guys just aren't delivering. What kind of sense are you getting from those guys as well? Because obviously they want to start picking up their games as well.
Well, he was one of the big guys that said, there's no reason to talk. I just got to go play better. We got to go play better. It comes back to the offensive line issues that you were talking about and playing from behind. They need to have the lead. They need to be able to get the lead early and then play the way they want to play. When you're in front, it's a lot easier to make those play calls if you're Randy Fichtner. I just think right now they're being too predictable when they're not in the lead. Excuse me. And I think that's a huge issue for the Steelers right now. I mean, offensive line's just not delivering.
Right. Well, I think the issue is the teams know that we have a rookie quarterback in there. And so they're going to stack the line to try to take the run away and dare him to beat him downfield.
Exactly.
So I think that's what Randy Fichtner needs to do is let this kid throw the ball, even if he throws it over the heads of the back. At least let them know that you got to, you can't bring everybody up in the box. You got to protect that back there, and maybe that's going to help. So that's more on the coaches, I think, than on the team.
All right, guys, we'll wrap it up with this. Keys to the game.
Win. Somehow. Win. And let me say this as we go into keys to the game. If they beat the Bengals, you and I talked about this, and they beat Baltimore, is our discussion a lot different when we get together?
I think so. 2 and 3 looks a lot better, and it's two-divisional.
And the 2 and 3, who it is.
Right, put you kind of right back in it.
Yeah, so yes, the sky is falling, but it hasn't hit us yet.
Right.
So
feed off the crowd. It's a home game. I know the Bengals are going to come in here wanting that first one as well. Don't let them get the momentum. Take it to them right from the start. Establish the run right from the very get-go in the line of scrimmage and time of possession. They'll win the football game.
Mike, your thoughts?
Pass rush, because the Cincinnati Bengals throw the football about 75% of their play calls, and even without A.J. Green, they throw the football about as much as anyone across the NFL. They've got to establish the pass rush, get after him, pressure him, because that's all they want to do is throw. They can't run the ball right now.
All right, guys, thanks so much. Enjoy the game this weekend. So for Mike, and Kent, I'm Jay. Have a good one, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks for watching. Join us again next week for Black and Gold Digital Edition.